Let me tell you, we're about to dive into something that sounds like it's straight out of some kind of like movie or something.
Yeah, it's pretty wild.
This supposed Vatican exorcism document, right?
Yeah.
Smuggled out of their archives. And get this, yeah, even claims to have a picture of, like, demonic levitation.
Definitely grabs your attention.
Grabs my attention. This got a hold of my brain, man.
Yeah.
Especially because we're talking about the Vatican secret archives, right? I mean, this isn't just some library. We're talking centuries of, like, rumors, forbidden knowledge, historical stuff, all locked away. And an exorcism document, with photos even, gets out. That's crazy.
All right. Let's hold back on the conspiracy theories for a sec. The Vatican secret archives are definitely a real thing. And yeah, they've got tons of historical documents, but it's not exactly like, Da Vinci Code stuff.
Right.
We're talking more like papal letters, state papers, that kind of thing. A gold mine for historians, for sure, but still.
Still, this exorcism document, I gotta say.
It raises some questions.
Questions. Dude, this thing redefined the word questions for me. Especially with that whole photo of levitation thing. I mean, come on, if that's not a conversation starter, I don't know what is. And the implication, even though we don't know who snuck it out, is that this is legit, right?
And that's what makes this so interesting, because to get why this document is such a big deal, you got to understand how the church views exorcisms.
Okay.
And to them, they're very real. But there's a difference. A simple exorcism, like during baptism, versus a solemn exorcism.
Okay.
Those are for suspected demonic possession, and those are super rare.
So you can't just call up a priest after a bad dream and get him to swing by.
Not exactly. The church has a whole process for this. First, someone thinks something demonic's up. Then it goes to the archdiocese.
Yeah.
They've got, specially trained priests, exorcists who handle it. And here's the thing. Medical and psychological evaluations are a must.
Yeah, they're not just jumping to demons. They're considering other stuff, too. That's actually kind of smart, if you think about it.
It is. They want to be absolutely sure it's spiritual, But there are signs they look for that point to possession. Stuff that medicine might not explain.
All right, you got to give me the details. What kind of signs are we talking? What makes them go, okay, this might be an exorcist situation?
Well, like a strong aversion to holy stuff. Holy water, crucifixes, that kind of thing.
Okay.
Or knowing things they shouldn't, hidden events, stuff like that. Then there's the more extreme stuff. Speaking in tongues, crazy strength.
Wait, are you saying real exorcisms are like in the movies?
Well, the church might say Hollywood gets a little carried away, but yeah, some signs are pretty unbelievable to, well, most of us. And, of course, there's levitation, which takes us right back to that photo.
Man, this is a lot. This document's like a portal to another dimension. But then there's science. Like, how does science explain all this ancient belief stuff, The brain, psychology, all that.
That is the million-dollar question. And it's one we've been asking forever. On the one hand, you've got the spiritual side. Exorcism as this battle against evil, historical accounts, religious texts, centuries of this stuff. It's a powerful belief.
And it's not just Catholic, right?
Yeah.
I feel like I've heard of exorcisms in other cultures, other religions throughout history.
Absolutely. Belief in spirits, good and bad, is ancient. But science, they've got a different take. They tend to be, shall we say, skeptical of possession.
Right.
So,
what's the scientific side of this? If it's not demons, what's going on?
well, scientifically speaking, what looks like demonic stuff could be explainable things like mental illness that hasn't been diagnosed yet,
Right.
schizophrenia, multiple personalities, even epilepsy can look really strange, especially way back when people didn't understand these things as well.
Makes you wonder. Like, if someone truly thought they were possessed and went through this whole exorcism, even if it was, I don't know, for show,
Yeah.
couldn't their mind actually make them feel better?
The placebo effect, it's a real thing. The mind is powerful. If you believe something will help, it just might. Or at least it might feel like it.
And then there's, like, the power of suggestion, right?
Yeah.
Especially in a situation as intense as an exorcism.
Exactly. Suggestion, a charismatic person leading it, tradition, ritual, all that plays a role in how someone feels.
This whole process the church does with the doctors and the evaluations makes you wonder, have there been times they thought it was possession, but it was something else entirely?
That's a good question. And the answer is complicated.
Well, I'm ready for complicated. Lay it on me.
It's not like they'd have a list of misdiagnoses or anything.
Right.
They're big on approaching everything carefully, with respect for the person. Like we said, those evaluations are important to them.
Yeah.
The church is saying, basically, we're not going to dismiss mental illness or make it harder for people who are struggling.
So it's a tough balance,
Yeah.
kind of. trying to stick to their beliefs, but also, like, acknowledging science and what we know about the mind.
Exactly. And that tension is what this whole thing's about, isn't it? It's not about faith versus science, but admitting there are things we might never understand.
Speaking of not understanding, we've got this document, supposedly from deep inside the Vatican, talking about things that are pretty hard to grasp. But there's something else too, right? The whole Vatican secret archives
Like
thing.
a real-life treasure chest, yeah, full of history, and nobody really knows what's in there. Makes you wonder, what else is hiding in there?
That's what gets me. It's not just demons and exorcisms anymore.
Right.
It's about secrets, the stuff we don't know,
And it's like, think about the stories we tell, myths, legends, all that. Ancient monsters, ghosts. Now people love the unseen stuff, the stuff we can't control.
And the Vatican secret archives, all quiet and old. It's like it represents that, right? All the mysteries, the hidden stories.
It is powerful, yeah. Whether you're a true believer, a total skeptic, or whatever's in between, hidden knowledge, secrets being revealed, that's got to pull.
We're hardwired for it. A good mystery, And even if this document's fake, it's got us talking about something bigger.
It makes you face what you don't know, right? Makes you ask, what do I believe? And why? Sometimes those questions are more important than any answer.
I like that. So it's not just Vatican stuff, or exorcisms even. It's about the unknown, faith, reason, curiosity all mixed up.
Yeah, and it reminds us that even now, with all our science and information, some mysteries just are.
And that's a good thing, I think. Keeps things interesting.
Maybe it does, maybe it does.
We've gone deep on Vatican exorcisms, these archives, but I keep thinking, what about the people involved? The ones who truly believe they're possessed.
You hit it there. It's easy to get caught up in the theology, the history, but it's about people, right? Dealing with something scary, something they don't understand.
And whether it's demons or, something medical, that fear is real.
Exactly. That's important to remember with all this. We got to have empathy, compassion, no matter what we believe ourselves.
Totally. Because in the end, everyone deserves to feel safe, heard, supported, no matter what they're dealing with.
Well said. Important message for all this.
It is. Something to think about. So,
Yeah.
with all this exorcism stuff, these secret Vatican archives, what are we supposed to do with this? Practice Latin in case a demon pops up? Or try to get into those archives ourselves?
I wouldn't recommend either, to be honest, but it does make you think about, well, humility, right? It's easy to be sure of ourselves with all our modern knowledge. Then something like this document shows up and suddenly...
It makes you realize how much you don't know?
Exactly. We've come a long way with science, psychology, understanding the brain, but then these ancient beliefs, these mysteries, they kind of shake things up.
Right.
And that's what's so interesting about all this, I think. It's not about proving demons exist or not, or saying someone's belief is right or wrong. It's about that feeling of wonder,
Right.
Admitting there are things we might never actually figure out.
And maybe that's all right. Maybe that mystery keeps us, I don't know, keeps us humble, keeps us looking for answers, asking the big questions.
It's part of what makes us human.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Even with all our knowledge, there's always going to be the unknown, things we can't explain easily.
It's like our whole conversation here, it's taken us not just through the Vatican or this document, but through how people believe, how we try to make sense of everything.
Exactly. And we might never know for sure about demons or that photograph, but just thinking about it, it's been, well,
Eye-opening.
I was going to say fascinating, but yeah, that too.
Well, folks, that's all we've got for today's deep dive into Vatican exorcism, secret documents, all that, where faith and reason kind of meet, I guess.
It's been great talking about it.
It really has. And listeners, keep the conversation going, right? What mysteries got you thinking today? Let us know. And until next time, keep exploring, keep asking questions, and don't lose that sense of wonder.